We are live. Hey everyone, welcome to Hack Check Studios. It is I, RT Bear, a reeling RT Bear. I've known this information for a little bit of time, and I've been trying to ignore it and put it on the back burner because, quite frankly, a lot of it's none of my business. But we're going to be talking about the Critias situation that most of us comics gators behind the scenes have known this. I actually knew that the S was going to hit the fan during the campaign. But anyways, we're going to talk about that a little bit. And I just have to say my state of mind right now is I'm still angry. Last night I was going to come on and do this show. But I'm glad I didn't, because last night I got to back up. I got to tell you guys what's going on. Okay, last night I heard on Antonio Bryce's show, Critias was interviewed, and Critias was trying to kind of ease his conscience about not fulfilling Detective Dead. And so as I was listening to this whole thing, I was getting more angry and more angry as it went on. And I will tell you why. But like I said, I'm glad I didn't do it then, because I've gotten, time, smooths things out, and you kind of can, I guess, calm down a little bit. But yeah, I just feel I need to say my piece, and maybe a little bit of a cautionary tale if there's some people out there that are thinking of crowdfunding, and maybe things to look out for. I don't know how constructive this is going to be, actually, because I think it's going to be more of a rant, at least initially, until I can get it out of my system. So I hope you guys are up for a little bit of harsh conversation, no bones, kind of straight to the heart kind of thing. So let me welcome everybody first. We have Gonzo the Great. Amen. Love my copy of Black and White and appreciate the constant updates. You got it, brother. Anytime. I actually love to do updates. Some people say don't update too much, but when I get updates from books I backed and stuff, I dig it, man, because I like the creative process. I like the behind the scenes stuff, and updates are kind of that, man. They give you a little glimpse of what it's like to make these books. And part of these, excuse me, I'm grabbing a water, these Indiegogos, is that you get to see like a lot of behind the scenes stuff, the making of a book. You get to back the book, you get to see it made in front of your very eyes. I dig all that crap, and the more I see, the more excited I get. So I hope you guys are the same way, because I know that there are people that say that, they try to keep it a mystery and then they just put it out there. But I actually like the behind the scenes stuff. Taking a chug of water, trying to calm down. What's up, Cam? 1138. What's up? Right back at you, brother. Morning, super duper. Yeah, this is morning. I usually don't get in this early, but I wanted to get in here, get this off my back, and then move forward with my day. We have Blue Sea Hill. I don't know why I do that. I think that's the way my mom would say it. Heel. She also said wash instead of wash. Hail RT Bear. Hey Edgar, what's up? Tell all. I will tell all. I'm probably not going to hold back too much either. So if you guys know anybody out there, if you could share this out on your social media, let people know that, Art's going to talk some straight poop, deliver some straight poop, as they say, as the kids say. We have Linkovich. I like saying Linkovich. I've told you guys before, I had a shop teacher named Linkovich. I liked him. He's kind of a roly-poly bald guy. And he had those like really thick glasses, like that make your eyes like look like they're bugging out of your head. but I dug the guy. He was cool. Art, I'm here for you, brother. He's on the other side of the globe, so we have to yell at each other. Saint, no, 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 no. Far from it. Far from it. Rant, brother, let the rage flow. I will, man. Rants are, they can be fun. Thibert Fury today. Hey, everyone. We have P Money in the chat. What's up? We have Cryptic Comics. Hail. I'm going to say hi to as many people as I can before I start. I borrow ideas. You should. I borrow good ideas. You don't want to just borrow ideas because some of them are bad. That's just my little insight there for you. I'm here to help. Scrolling down. Yes, I'm scrolling down. Always scrolling down. Warsh. Art's mom is from the Midwest. You know what? Surprisingly, no. She was born and raised in SoCal. So I don't know where that came from. Yes, indeedy do. Don't waste money on fonts. Rants are helpful. Okay. Hey, we have Christ Energetics, man. I haven't seen you in a while. For the record, man, Christ Energetics did a killer original song for Black and White, for the Black and White video. I am still like in awe of this community. You guys are the best, and thanks again for doing that. It was a killer song, man. Sometimes I just go to the video just to listen to the music. Pretty cool. I am here for your well-seasoned rants, Art. Hopefully it'll just be one rant, not multiples. Evening high tea. What's up, man? All right, so I think we're caught up. We're caught up here. All right, so to back up and give you guys a little bit of the backstory. So Comicsgate has been around for a while now. And so one of the early, guys that came in, I guess a little after me, was a guy named Antonio Malpica. You guys probably know him as Critias. And so he had a book called Detective Dead. So he would join the chats and he'd hang out and he would crowdfund and stuff just like everybody else. So no harm, no foul, right? You know, we're open to a lot of different people coming in, shilling their books. Most of the time, I think most of the streams only help if you're like Comicsgate, because, you know, it's a pretty tight community. And quite frankly, just to be honest, again, there are a lot of other crowdfunding sites and stuff and communities you can be part of, but this is a very specific group. And so most of the creators that are involved just ask for one thing: that you're part of the group, that you're part of the community, that you're all in. So he came in, and we accept him as one of us. He's one of our brothers. And so as the campaign kept going, he was adding more books or more pages, more perks, upgrades. Just went absolutely nuts with the campaign. And as I saw this thing grow, I saw impending doom. I don't want to turn this into like, I told you so, or I'm so great, or anything like that. But I've been crowdfunding for 10 years. So before Black and White, I had crowdfunded on Kickstarter twice, both successful and both fulfilled. Black and White has been fulfilled, and Chrono Mechanics right now is a month or so away from the printers. So that book is done as well. So, you know, and also I have a 35-year career in the industry, and you don't have a 35-year career by effing people over on deadlines or not keeping your word. So that's where I'm coming from. So I saw, him making promises that I knew he wasn't going to be able to keep. And also, we had a little bit of inside behind the scenes stuff with Critias because my wife was editing the book. She was the first editor to come on. Apparently there were 2 other editors, and both those editors got paid, but my wife did not. Having hindsight now, it was probably a good thing because we would probably feel very, very bad that we contributed in taking backers' money. Because if you don't know, a lot of well, I'll get to that. I'm trying to stay focused so you guys can follow the narrative here. So so he kind of made a lot of promises, and Pamela and I were trying to steer him. And I think even on one of the live chats, I said, Critias, you know, you should 130 pages, or it kept growing. I don't know what it was at the time, but I kept saying, these are impossible. This is a climb that even a seasoned veteran like myself, and I think I've heard Ethan say too, that's a lot, man. That is a lot to take on. And this was his first project. So I know that there's, you know, sometimes there's young, you know, you're enthusiastic, excuse me, and you know, think that you can pull off all this stuff. But I think there were warning signs, and I think he should have known better. Just in case in this, I what is it? I forget. I did the math. Like if it was 138, let's just say it was 100 per page. Let's say that was his penciler, right? So he was paying his penciler $100. Most of the time, it's more than that. At 130 pages, you know, what is that? That's is that, what is that? Is that 13,000? Is that right? 100 times 130. No, is that right? $13,000? That can't be right. If there's anybody with a calculator, yeah, it's 13K. Okay, so 13K. That is just for your penciler. That's not inker. That's not colorer or colorist. That's not letterer. That's none of those things. That's just your penciler. And that's 130. I think it was 138 page book or something like that. I don't know what it was, but okay. And I think he said his inker was like $90 a page or something like that. So add on another $100. You're already at 26K. $26,000 just for pencils and inks on a 130 page book. You're already fucked. Pardon my French. You know, he made 38K. So that's 38K. His art just for pencils and inks is already 26K. He's already screwed. This is basic math. He should have known this. I knew it. I think most people knew it. But, you know, we wanted to back our brother. We, you know, sometimes for me, I don't really like to give too much advice, and I don't like to be heavy-handed because when you do, a lot of times it's like that guy that goes, you know, you got a booger on your nose, right? And then the guy's like, what the F, you know, like, and they get all pissed off at you for saying you got a booger just there. And the reason you're saying it is because you're trying to be a good guy. You're trying to go, well, I'm trying to stop you from embarrassment. You got a big old moco hanging out of your nose, and I'm trying to stop it here so you don't go, you know, and, you know, other people have to look at that booger hanging out. But most of the time people get pissed when you give them, you know, those type of, you know, advice. You go, you know, hey, maybe you shouldn't have as many pages. Maybe you shouldn't do this. Maybe you shouldn't do that. So, you know, so they get pissed off at you. So usually I've learned over the years, I keep things to myself, man. I don't really do this and talk about, you know, like, oh, maybe you should do this. Maybe you should do that. I could, but most of the time people don't really care. They don't want to listen. So I didn't. I mean, I tried in my own way, just like I tried with Mike Miller. And you can't, you got to just you can't be overbearing with it. You just got to kind of throw it out there as a friendly little, hey, an aside, a heads up, and I did. And then we have the situation we have. So just to back up again to the dollar amount, 26K just for the creative team of pencils and inks. That is not, there's no printing cost in there. Oh my gosh. The printing cost is not in there. The 8% or whatever that you have to pay Indiegogo and their partner, that's right off the top of that 38, man. They take that right off the top before they even give you your money. They'll take their 8% off the top. So boom, there you go. Okay, so then you have the shipping. You took shipping. Your total, that 38K that you made, a third of that's probably shipping money. So he was already screwed just based on penciler and inker scenario. Penciler, inker, shipping, printing, and Indiegogo money. He was already upside down. That's without paying for, that's still without paying for color, and without paying for lettering and any other incidentals that come up along the way. There was no way this was going to happen. And I think I've gotten all the setup. So then smash cut last night. I was watching Antonio. I'm not sure if it was last night or the day before. Antonio Bryce. I love Antonio. He's a great guy. Fun to talk to, fun to hang out, fun to listen to his show. And he had Critias on the show, and he was interviewing Critias about like what happened, all these other things. And as this was going on, the longer and longer I heard Critias talk, the more angry I was getting. I don't hold anything against him. I don't hate him personally or anything, but that's why I wanted to do this show today. I wanted to not get out in front of this. That's not the right term, but to basically, and also that he brought up my wife's name. Oh my gosh, dude, you're going down in flames and you're bringing up my wife's name. She was gracious enough to try to help you absolutely free, and you bring her name up. Like, you didn't bring up anybody else's name. You brought her name up. I think he was trying to be like, give her credit or something. But the thing is, man, you don't want to be associated with this stuff. You don't, when somebody's effing up, you shouldn't bring up other people's names, man, because you're going to bring them down with you. So there's multiple things that were going on here, and the reason I'm kind of at this state. So it's a great interview. It'll probably piss you off if you guys are backers, or if you love, these independent books and creators. There's a link in the description. So after my rant, you guys should check it out. It's really hard to listen to, though. And to be honest, I'm going to say this, and then I'm gonna move forward a little bit, is that I didn't get a lot of remorse from him. Also, you guys, he spent some of that money on his personal bills, his personal problems. And he wasn't answering to the backers. He couldn't even keep them updated. He said that his computer went out and his phone. That's no excuse, man. You could go use somebody else's computer, a friend or something like that, and give your backers an update. But he didn't. He was not accountable to them. And also, what I thought was funny in that chat conversation, or that show with Antonio Bryce, was that he said, because Antonio, yeah, the library. Thank you, John Malin. I was going to say the library, but I wasn't sure if they had computers anymore. And so he also said, because Antonio was saying like, oh, I sent out the PDFs, because he got kind of a rude comment well, just somebody wanted to know about the PDFs. I'm not going to comment on it, that it was rude or anything. But Antonio said, I sent out the PDFs for Brand. And so then Antonio, Critias said, yeah, I got mine. Well, how did you get yours if your computer isn't working? I don't know. There's a lot of inconsistencies. I didn't see a lot of remorse. Like I said, it got me pretty angry. I'm glad I didn't do the show yesterday, because as incoherent as my rantings are right now, it would have been even more incoherent. And so then at the end, or I think it was at the end, he goes, I will do right by my backers. I will get this book done, and I will give refunds if necessary, if you want them. And I was like, dude, $38,000. $38,000, man. How? You're broke now. How are you going to do that? How in the hell are you going to do that? And then he said, God only knows how I'm going to be able to do this. You want people to have confidence, and you're saying God only knows, like you're like throwing a Hail Mary pass, and you're just like, well, God will take care of this or whatever. It's like, no, dude, no, absolutely not. You can't fucking do this. Oh, ugh. I felt so bad for Antonio. I could tell, like Antonio Bryce, he was so frustrated because he wanted to go after the guy. He was very professional. Antonio showed great restraint, man, great restraint. And I'll tell you right now, if anybody backed that book, Detective Dead, you are not going to get your book, and you will not get your money back. I am saying this with all my heart. He cannot do this. He is completely dysfunctional. He cannot even take care of he can't even get a laptop fixed. He can't even get a cell phone. How is he going to pay back $38,000? And then he says he's not going to do comic books anymore. And then he says he's going to get a bank loan for the $38K. What the hell are you talking about, man? You know how, okay, I do pretty well financially. I made some good investments. My house, all my affairs are pretty much taken care of, right? So I could do that. I could pay that money back if I fucked up that bad. But I have never, and I will never, ever screw up like that. It's just not in my character. I take this stuff too far to heart. I care too much. I appreciate what everybody does for me to the extent that I could never, ever screw over a backer or hurt anybody like that. I mean, that's a major leap of faith to give somebody $25 plus shipping for their book. That is a major leap of faith for backers to take. And all they ask is for the book. That's all they ask. They don't ask for drama. They don't ask for excuses. They just want their book. Things happen. Things do happen. I understand that. And backers, for the most part, will understand that too. But you at least have to tell them. You have to keep them up on things. And you can't use a stupid ass excuse like, my computer broke down. The dog ate my fucking homework. What are you, 7 years old? The dog ate my homework excuse. Listen, buddy. No. The buck stops with you. You spent backers' money. You spent backers' money on personal bills. That is taboo. That is not your money. That's not your money, dude. At all. You can't do that. It's morally wrong, man. It's oh my gosh, no way, really? Comics Legend said he spent around $2K in super chats. No joke. That's right. He used to super chat like he had disposable income. Those were backers' dollars, man. I guarantee you. $2,000 in super chats. Freaking nuts. Oh, no, Art. He said he would finish the book and give refunds. Okay. That's even crazier. This is crazy talk, man. And then, okay, so you guys, so you can get the full story through, from Critias's mouth. Go check out Antonio Bryce's YouTube channel and see for yourself what's going on. I did the best job I could without going blow by blow in the description. And just know, you guys, I'm very, very sorry if you backed this book or liked Critias. You're not going to get the book. You're not going to get the book. It's not going to happen. And quite frankly, this is how I feel personally. I think he should have just disappeared. I think the guy should have just disappeared and not came back at to Comicsgate. Like, I thought that was a cheap shot too. Like, now, like, we're supposed to protect him, and we're supposed to, I don't know, shield him from what he did. And I'm sorry, at some point, man, you gotta cut people loose, man. You got to disconnect from them, because they'll sink your ship as well. It's like a drowning man. They're just gonna pull you under as well when you try to help them. And I thought that was also very, very selfish of him to come back into Comicsgate and to try to spin things so that he could get some kind of forgiveness and that he could move on, or some kind of closure. I'm sorry, dude, you're not going to get it. You're not going to get it from me. I tried. My wife gave time, advice to you, and you didn't even pay her. You paid these other two guys, but you didn't pay her. Like I said, in hindsight, I'm glad she didn't, because I know what kind of person my wife is. And I'll tell you right now, somehow she would try to give that money back to the backers. It would be an impossible task to do, but I know that we would have a conversation and she would try to do that, because that's what kind of person she is. So we can't be like this. If we're going to crowdfund, oh my gosh, I backed 3 times, gutted. Oh, sorry to hear that, Kevin. Kevin's a great guy, man. He doesn't deserve to be treated like that. Yeah, I'm kind of going in the chat a little bit. I'm going to start changing. I have a segue, and then I have some fun stuff to talk about as well. That I just kind of wanted to get that off of my back, and to also let you guys know, this is one guy. This is not all of us. This is one person's act. This is not Comicsgate. This is not who we are. This is not who the community is. This is not who the creatives that are behind this movement. We're not like that. I'm in these chats, these behind the scenes chats. Everybody is trying so hard to, even first timers, man. They're in those chats. They're asking people like, how do I do this? What do I do here? So there's a lot of support. There's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that goes on. And so everybody, is trying to make the best, comic books they can, and to keep their promises to their backers. And it's a shame that one did not. And that's why I have to say this, and I have to let you guys know, it was one person. It's not all of us. So please, in your heart, I know it's hard, man. I know it's hard. Kevin just said he backed 3 times. It's hard to find way back in your heart to back books after you hear stories like this. And this is not, I just want to say this too. This is not just Comicsgate, man. This happens on Kickstarter. This happens with, this happens I'm not going to say a lot because I don't know how much, but there are people that do these crowdfunds and that do not deliver. Not just comic books, but products, video games, all kinds of stuff. So these things do happen, you guys. But I just want to get out in front of this because I know that, sometimes if you're Comicsgate, you have the big old target on your back. You have the target on your back, and people just look for, these type of things to happen so that they can, tarnish your name and to, rub your face in it. And I just want to say that it's one person's act. And I don't know of anybody in Comicsgate that's happy with this. I don't know of anybody that's like, yes, oh, shit happens, right? Oh, like they're cavalier about it. No, they're not. And just to reiterate again, I know I'm saying this a lot, but sometimes there are people that that believe, and they just want to believe and keep believing. Listen to when I say this, he's not going to get you your book. He's not. So put faith in other people, move forward, and just kind of write that off on your taxes, figure out a way to move forward. And please don't let it tarnish your future with backing these and supporting the creative people, because like I said, it's one person. What is this? Crid can drive Uber for a few years to scrounge cash for the rest of the production and release it in digital form. That's feasible. Yeah, but he still didn't keep his promise. He still didn't keep his promise. I mean, that's damage control, but he promised people a book. So yeah, that's nice of you, the bright side, but trust me, I think he said that he had 30 pages done or some low amount of a 130-page book. He has 100 pages left to do. 100 pages at $200 a page, just for penciler and inker. Just for penciler and inker. Like $200. What is that? $20,000, something like that. He's not going to get that from driving Uber. Also, the guy's broke. He's going to have to use every one of those dollars into going into his family and taking care of those obligations. He's not going to have any disposable income to hire those artists to finish the book. There is absolutely no way. I appreciate your optimism here, but driving an Uber, no way. It's not going to happen, man. Like I said, I appreciate your, your optimism, but it's just not going to happen. Crid hasn't had a job in 5 years. He ain't getting. Yep. This is all hard, man. This is this is not easy to say. But yeah, I just don't. There's no reason to think that it's going to go any other way. There's absolutely no reason. I don't have any reason to think that it would change. Let's see what Krish shouldn't have quit his day job if he even had one to begin with. The earlier comment said he hadn't worked in 5 years, so it sounds like he hasn't, worked. And then he says, it's where I live. Well, then move where there's work. My dad lived in Detroit. The auto industry went belly up. He moved out to California for work. That's what people do. Go where the work is. You don't sit and go, there's no work here. What the hell? It's not an excuse. He's got kids. He's got a family. It's not an excuse. It is not. I feel bad for Critius's wife. I'm sorry. I needed to laugh, and that just struck me as funny. Oh, this is good. He'll drive the Uber to where people have the jobs that aren't in his area. Yeah, there's just too many. There's too many flaws. There's too many flaws in his story. There's too many loopholes. I like the guy. Like I said, my wife and I got duped in. We tried to help him out, and once bit, twice shy, right? Isn't that how it goes? Uh, Let me see. Only way to fix it is to cut the book to 48 pages short, finish the rest as he can, fulfill. Yeah, but that's on him, man. I'm just trying to prepare everybody um, that it's not going to happen. And that's really how I feel in my heart of hearts. Um, I just don't think he has the dig down to do it. There's no motivation for him to do it. You know what I mean? It's other than his integrity, which I don't know how much integrity he has. Um, so oh, thank you, Comic Book Legend. Back creators like Art Thibert, Gary Shipman, to name a few, who have quality work and have successfully fulfilled campaigns. Yes, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate that. Yes, Mary, it is. It is sad. It's sad news. I don't like it, but I wanted to get out and say that this isn't everybody, you guys. I want to say choose wisely, but that you can't, man, because you back these things with your heart. You back these things with like, oh, it looks like a cool story, or I like that creator. Like you can't go in with like a cynical nature, man. You have to still go in with like, this is going to be an amazing project, and just go on the journey with the creative people. I don't know how you can safeguard yourself, other than if there's somebody like me that has a 35-year track record, or if somebody has multiple campaigns that they've fulfilled. I mean, there's those obvious things like that. So maybe buyer beware if it's their first time, but those are the people that really need the support. So I don't know. I don't really have an answer for that. Everybody has to just back with their heart. I say just don't let this get to you, and don't let this harden you for backing these books, because the majority of these do get funded. They do get backed. The problem is, I know I'm old. I know I'm an old guy, but one bad apple, right? They spoil the whole bunch, and that's the reality of the world. These worst case scenario, these bad things always end up overshadowing any good that's done, and that's a problem. Let's see, what does Eric Hawking say? Unless you are Art Miller, EVS, etc., that has a name in the industry, you can't expect to crowdfund and quit your job. You will have to build up cred. Yeah, and even people like myself, like this is a lot of work, man. This is a lot of work. And when I came over, to Comicsgate, I put a target on my back. And I want to back up too. When I came over to Comicsgate, I wasn't ousted from the industry. I wasn't there was no witch hunt. There was nothing like that. I came over to Comicsgate, and I think I'm the only one that has this story. I came over here because I wanted to come here. I came here by choice, not because there was no place else to go. So I want to stress that as well. Yeah, I have a little bit of a personal story, and it kind of goes in line with this. So on Chrono Mechanics, I hit a snag. We hit a snag. My wife and I hit a snag, and we had to course correct. Maybe a month ago, maybe not even that long ago, like two, maybe 3 weeks, going on 3 weeks now. We had to course correct. We were having a problem with one of our vendors, and we were having a hard time getting pages and just keeping up a relationship with this person in a positive way. And so I let him go. I let him go. It was hard to do, but it was the right thing to do. So I let him go and moved forward with another vendor. And so I am eating $2,400 that I already paid to this vendor. I'm not even going to ask for my money back. I put that in there just to keep things civil and to move forward. But these are the things that we have to do. These are the things that we have to do creatively. And if Critias was having some problems early on with his vendors, with his different creative people, he should have recognized it, and he should have, course corrected, and went, into somebody that he knew could do the job. You know what I mean? And to move the project forward. If you're only getting a page a week from somebody, I think Critias was saying he was getting a page a week or something like that. That's not enough, man. It's a 130-page book. I have to keep saying that with outrage. It's insane. A 130-page book is nuts. So 1 page a day or 1 page a week, you're never going to get this book done. Like, I already did the math. He was already in over his head just with like penciler and inker. Just time alone, you should have known it wasn't going to happen. So sometimes you have to cut people. You have to cut people free, and you have to course correct. And that's what we did with Chrono Mechanics. And I'm hoping we have no reason to think that we still won't deliver on time. At least that's the goal right now. The new vendor is delivering pages on a regular day-to-day basis, and giving me less grief in the process. So I'm really, really thankful for that. But it did cost me. It was a lesson that cost me, $2,400. So there's that. And I am going to bring in my new bestest pal, Joe Fulton, aka Albino Thunderbuns. How are you, brother?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. Joe was the guy that kind of gave me the heads up. I was putting a new campaign together, and I got a DM, and he's like, "Are you checking out this shit?" Yeah.
The thing that burns me, and in the interest of full disclosure, I was a backer of Detective Dead.
Oh,
I'm just writing the money off. A refund would be great, but I don't expect to ever see one. I certainly don't expect to ever see the book. The thing that burns me the most, quite honestly, is not the money that I lost or the trust that was broken. It's the fact that it's going to be so much harder now for other up-and-comer crowdfunding creators to earn the first-time business that they have to earn in order to be successful through no fault of their own.
yeah, exactly.
It's like you were saying earlier, once bitten, twice shy. Now that's true for you, but it's also true for potential backers. I'm going to be more critical of campaigns that I decide to back or not back. And any first-time crowdfunding creator has to expect that a lot of people are going to be a lot more discriminating in what they buy or don't buy. And if you're going to launch a campaign, or if you hope to launch a campaign for the first time, just know you're going to have to do a whole lot of extra legwork now to try to earn the trust of people, to convince them to take a chance on you, because all of us who have backed books now have been burned pretty badly with this one.
Yeah, and I also, when you were talking, I thought of something here as well, because with Comicsgate, the group, is that we all have each other on our show. Joe's got a book coming up, so one, Joe's a great guy, so I want to hang out with him. But two, we're going to start promoting his book, and we're going to start, letting people know that it's happening. So the thing is, when we have people on our shows, Antonio, Bryce, EVS, John Malin, everybody, it's kind of an endorsement. You have somebody coming on your show, and then you're promoting their book, and you're talking them up, and you're saying these things. It's somewhat of an endorsement from that person that's hosting. But I want to let people know, just full disclosure, a lot of times when we have other people on the show, we don't know them that well. We don't know their backstory. We don't know their history. We don't know what kind of character they have. Some people we do, but a lot of people we don't. So please don't hold Comicsgate or people that are trying to give others a voice and to help promote their new books. Please don't come after them or don't criticize them harshly, because we really are just sharing this stuff and having people on to help people, to help these creators. But it's not necessarily an endorse on their character. It's not necessarily an endorsement that they're good people. It just really is that we're trying to help somebody. So I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, it's a good point. I think that when it comes to the hosts of channels who are having people on, yourself or John Malin or EVS or Chester or anybody else, really, I would hope that people understand that the hosts of channels are hoping to do a good thing and help people out who are trying to do something very difficult. And the YouTube hosts don't have to promote anyone. I mean, technically, the point of having the channel, if you're a creator, is to build your own audience and make connections with people and build your own platform for your own projects, and nobody has to have others on. But when they do have others on, it gives people a chance to get to know them a little bit, and gives them a chance to maybe get a different perspective about something, or a different form of entertainment, because different shows have different personalities and we go to different channels for different things. But at the same time, I don't think it's realistic for us as viewers to hold the hosts of the channels responsible for doing an FBI level background check on people who they're, the guests that they have on to promote a project that they have.
Yeah, I hope people understand that. That's why I'm saying this now, is that my hopes are that, you're only as good as your reputation, your integrity. All you have are those things at the end of the day. And if those things get tarnished, then you have problems. So I always try to keep my word no matter what. And I think for the most part, like what Robert was saying here, in any enterprise, there will be a certain rate of failure. 9 out of 10 small businesses, I think, tend to fail in the first year. I think that it might even be higher than that. I'd say far more campaigns have fulfilled than failed in Comicsgate. Yes, thank you so much, Robert. Well said. Yeah, so when you guys are when you're running these campaigns, man, the buck stops with you. So you can't really make anybody the scapegoat. We could go on and say, oh, well, this guy screwed me over, that guy screwed me over, but at the end of the day, the buck does stop with you. Black and White, we had a little bit of problem with the printer, and we were told, a month to 6 weeks to get the book back from China. It took 3 months, but I was on live stream every day, telling you guys what's going on, what's happening, update on the site, the black and white Indiegogo site,
Yeah.
and so on and so forth. Sometimes these things are out of people's hands. There's nothing we can do. China takes a week off. For God's sake, I didn't know that and the person didn't tell me when they took my money, and gave me that deadline that they were going to be able to make. I'll never use Global PSD again. You guys, I'm saying Global PSD because I'm giving you the heads up. Don't ever use them. They came pretty recommended. They do a lot of art books. They do fantastic work. They do the they were doing the Art Adams art book, the coffee table book. They were doing the J. Scott Campbell book. I think they did some of the early Humberto Ramos books. So, I got to know those, Stephen from Global PSD over the years. So even when you know somebody, you've known them for years and you see their work, sometimes these things can happen, but you have to stay transparent. And at the end of the day, I can tell you what happened, but it's still on me. You know what I mean? Like those guys,
Right.
they made their money. They did whatever. They move on to the next guy. I'm the one left holding the bag. I'm the one that has to, tell the backers what's going on and keep them, updated on how things are progressing. And that's that. And that's why these live streams, I think, are amazing because we can talk directly to people and let them know what's going on. And Critias did have a channel as well, I believe, and he could have done this. He could have been more transparent, but he wasn't. There's a lot of things he could have done that he didn't. But
yeah, one of the things that I found the most frustrating during that interview that he did with Antonio Bryce is that in it, first he would say that it was his fault, he takes full responsibility. Then in the next breath, it would seem like he would give a bunch of reasons for why he couldn't do simple things like update the backers the way you were just talking about, or appear on someone else's show. Like
yeah,
just talking about. So, all I can say is that so in full disclosure here, in the last 2 years, I have backed over 60 campaigns, 60. It's not something I normally talk about, but I started out backing campaigns when the Jawbreakers Lost Souls deal, when that contract was broken at Antarctic Press.
okay,
And initially, it wasn't even my type of book. I wasn't going to buy it because it wasn't the type of thing I was into. But when that deal fell through and then the whole thing came out about Wade's quote unquote alleged involvement, I said, okay, here's one concrete thing I can do to help push back against this kind of nonsense. I'll back this book. And then when Cyberfrog was announced, I said, oh, well, I had been following Ethan's work for years. I was a huge Green Lantern fan, so that was a no-brainer for me. So, okay, that's one book where I bought it just because I wanted to support the creator, and then one book where I was definitely buying it because of what I expected to be inside the pages of the book. And then, and as time went on and more people were announced, like with Black and White, that was one that I definitely was interested in. And it's funny, Art, because I grew up, well, let's say you broke in the mid 80s.
yeah,
And so Yeah, so I started reading comics before you broke in, but I read the most comics after your career really took off. And so I didn't even realize at the time, because I was not really tracking artists or writers. I was just following characters and titles. And it's funny because I ended up reading a lot of stuff that you worked on without even realizing it. And then when you launched your Black and White Remastered, I was like, "Wow, that name is so familiar." And so I looked it up and I was like, "Holy crap! I read this guy's work for years."
Yeah.
So then that wrote me in. So my point is, I initially started because I really was backing creators. Um, but then at some point, I decided I was going to break into the industry, and I decided that crowdfunding made the most sense for me. I didn't want anything to do with Marvel or DC based on what their businesses had become over the years. And so I started backing books as research. I wanted to see what was working, what wasn't for up and coming creators, for experienced creators. I wanted to see who they were using. And I knew just the law of averages would dictate that some of these campaigns weren't going to work out. I knew I was going to take a loss on some of these books. And I'll tell you flat out, having backed more than 60 campaigns over 2 years, the vast majority of the books have been delivered. They have either met or exceeded expectations. And I've been, quite frankly, impressed with the level of quality that most of these books have. There have been a few that I've gotten burned on. But they're the percentage is so small. I don't know offhand. I'd have to actually go dig through them and do the math, but it's in the single digits. Out of 60 over 60 that I've backed, there's only a handful that I've been burned on, where either I'm not getting the book or it showed up, but I was really disappointed in the final product.
Yeah.
So, to Robert's comment earlier, I have to say that looking at the overall track record, I've been very impressed with what most people have done.
That's good. I'm going to go back a little bit. Peter, how are you, brother? Tons of great U.S. printers that print at an affordable price for high quality graphic novels and trades. And then he lists some names here. Thank you so much. And when Chrono is going to print in the U.S., I'm going to run some stuff by you, ask you some questions when that time comes. And even I believe that Kyung Lee has even a California printer that he's using, so that's even closer to me. I would like to be able to go to the facility and to call these guys on bullshit, because I think I got the runaround with Steven at Global PSD because we just weren't able. He could lie to me and say anything he wanted over an email. But if I could go to the facilities, I could actually, call their bluff. And I want to do that because we worked on Black and White. We worked with a lot of local vendors, a lot of local printers here, and we had great experiences with them. When we went and we talked face to face with them, showed them what we want, we would get, we'd get some of the printed stuff back and we go, hey, could you tweak this? Could you do that? But we did it all face to face, and it made a big, big difference. So, yes, Peter, that is great advice. And I think, Peter, there's another, see if I can find it in the chat later. Peter says, first-time creators should also consider the Alterna Printing Partnership for affordable single issues on newsprint. We print in the U.S. as well and make sure the books look great. So Peter has a service. Alterna has a service. So go by and check that out. You know, at the very least, Peter is very, very generous with knowledge. And I'll tell you right now, you guys, that's a very rare thing in this business. Most guys don't like to share anything because it's competitive as well, and they feel if they share, then you're going to be able to do what they do. And so Peter's not like that. Peter is very, very generous with knowledge and information, and that's very, very rare. So support Alterna Books, and if you have any questions, considering printing and possible partnerships with Alterna, go and talk to Peter there.
Yeah,
so, I'm sorry, Albino. I just wanted to get that before I lost it in the chat.
Oh, sure. No, I was just going to say that I second everything you just said. Alterna is a fantastic publisher. I have said both privately and publicly that I think Pete is the gold standard when it comes to publishers and comics today. If anybody has not checked out Alterna's line of comics, I encourage you to do so. They've got a little bit of everything in terms of the different types of comics you might be looking for. Everything from all ages to the horror that is definitely intended for grown-ups only, and just about everything in between. I was mentioning earlier that I had bought a bunch of books for research purposes because, as Art had mentioned earlier in the stream, I've been working for the last couple of years on developing a publishing company and putting out what I hope will be a series of books through crowdfunding, but it will all come down to what the customers are interested in. Am I able to build a sufficient audience to support the work that I want to do? There's been 2 years of planning that it's one of the reasons why I was just metaphorically banging my head against the wall when I was listening to that stream about Detective Dead. I just could not believe one thing after another, and it just kept getting worse and worse and worse, and I couldn't believe it. And so I really want to put a shine a positive light on this situation, and I would say I'll contrast that with someone like Peter Simeti, who really does his homework. He knows what he's doing before, or he definitely knows what he's doing in his day-to-day operation. But one of the things that I've noticed, and I really keyed in on it because I'm the same way. When he is thinking about doing something, he really takes the time to research what it will take in order to realistically pull it off successfully. And for any aspiring creators that are out there are times when you have a plan of what you want to do, and as you start to do the research or as you start to take preliminary steps, things happen which really should give you pause. And you need to be able to objectively assess the situation and not let your desire to put out a comic or to tell the story you always wanted to tell by a certain date. Don't let that overwhelm common sense.
Yeah.
There's been times when you were saying, Art, how you had a couple hiccups. There was one with Black and White. There was one with Chrono Mechanics. And you and Pamela, who, for those who might not know in the chat, Art's wife is also his business partner, his editor. You guys, you took a step back. You evaluated what was going on. You decided you needed to move in a different direction. And even though it was painful, you took action and you handled the situation. So Pete has had that same thing, and it's happened with his printer. It was a big deal. He assessed the situation. When he felt like he had a good grasp of the facts, he went public. He explained what was happening. He said, there's going to be a delay. Here's why. Here's what I'm doing to address it. And as soon as I have more information, I'll let you know. And then as he went forward, he kept people informed.
Yeah.
Once there was a solution in place, he said, "Great news, everybody. We've got a solution. Here's what it is. Here's how it's better than what we had before. Now we can move forward." So for the people in the chat, those are two great examples of Art as a creator and Pete as a publisher. Two great examples of what you can do, and in my opinion, what should be done when these sorts of things happen.
Yeah, and I have how do you say? Hey Joe, help me out here. How do you say his name?
Empyrean Vol.
Vol. Okay, Empyrean Vol. Okay, people have to get serious. I've been working on getting my skills up since August. I've completed 6 ash cans, 54 pages plus 6 covers. I'm amateur, but I'm trying to get good before I launch my own thing. There used to be a gold standard. I've been crowdfunding for 10 years now. I mean, not like constantly, but on and off. And the rule of thumb always was have your books done before you launch the campaign, or really, really close to getting them done. The new idea, and when I did Black and White, I was a little nervous because when I did the other 2 projects through Kickstarter, I pretty much had those done. They were pretty much done, which means like within a month or 2, you can start fulfilling. The way we're doing now is this is more like this is our indie film, right? And then we're going to secure the funds so that we can make the movie. So everybody's kind of initially as a producer, well, not producer, they're investors, and we're producers trying to get funds to make our movie, and then we go into the the creative part of it of actually making the movie or the comic once we get the funds. So it's a little bit different now. Things have shifted, but I want to say this, especially if there's new first timers. Listen, man, like in music, they always say you had your lifetime to make your first album, and then your second album, you have 6 months, So the thing is, if it's your first book, have it done, man. It's kind of, there's no reason why it shouldn't be. You've had all this time, developing, get it done, finish it before you launch it. And then you'll have a lot of these problems taken care of. So like Empyrean Vol says, he's got this material done. So that's great. Get the work done and then crowdfund. And if you guys, a way to damage control, because Joe was saying early on that especially newbies coming in, that don't have a track record, it might be a little hard for them to be taken seriously. But if you say in your, on your page when you launch, the book is done, then guess what? That becomes a huge selling point for people to take a chance on you because they know that the book is done. So this is maybe a way to go. It used to be what everybody did, and also what people used to, the old kind of business way of looking at crowdfunding is it should be a book that you're willing to invest your own money in.
Yeah.
And you guys see us crowdfunding, and it's way different than it was 10 years ago, or the way the reality of it is, because you see us doing this stuff, and I don't know if it seems easy. It's not, but there's a lot of stuff that goes into it. But like with Chrono Mechanics, the profit margin is very slim on Chrono Mechanics so far. I mean, I'm going to keep it up. I'm going to, I want to get into that a little bit later in the stream.
Oh, good.
But the thing is, it's going to be very slim. So I am investing my own money into this campaign at this point. I'm investing my own money in it in the form of taking care of my family and myself. And like I said, I've made investments. I have money to pull from. So that's what I'm doing. So if you like with Critias, if he had the book done, or had the money and was willing to spend his own money to fulfill the book, he wouldn't have had either one of these problems. So based on those two things that I just said, you could eliminate a ton of problems. And if you can't have the book done, or you don't have the money to, the personal funds to make it happen, then maybe you should reconsider it and wait until you have a nest egg and that you have the book done. And then you can get in and out of these campaigns, and you can start building. You can build a reputation as a person that does good work and that keeps their word. So maybe that might be a way to conduct business for you to move forward. So thank you so much for that comment.
I've got another possibility I'd like to offer, Art, and if you disagree, please let me know. Because I know there are a lot of aspiring creators who have been watching the crowdfunding campaigns for the last couple years, and there have been some creators, for example, Comics Do Nor is in the chat, Chael Roberts, and he's a guy who came in, was essentially unknown, outside of if you happen to chat with him, in the chat during live streams, which I happen to have done before he launched his project. I happen to chat with him from time to time just because of whatever was happening in the live stream. I didn't even know he was going to launch a book. And he, when he announced that he was going to launch and he started his YouTube channel, his YouTube channel was very small. And I think I might have been the first person on his first live stream, if I remember correctly.
Cool.
I think that's how I got my moderator job. But anyway, so here's a guy who he didn't have a career that he was bringing over the way that you did and that Ethan did, etc. And so what he did was he financed the production of his book out of his own pocket. He did a lot of work trying to meet people, network with people. He showed a lot of promo art. He showed progress on building the campaign. In essence, he was showing his work. And that's one of the things that I want to stress to people is that if you are an unknown, one of the things that you can do to create trust, Comics Do Nor is saying still unknown, laugh out loud. That's okay, buddy. You're getting more and more known. Chael delivered big time on his book. Chael, go ahead and put in the chat the name of your book that's already come out.
No, don't. I'm just kidding.
and in the chat, Chael, also put out the title of the one that's coming up. Because I'll tell you, Art, I received his book. Very small campaign, but he fulfilled it completely. And he's an example of how to do it right. He delivered on time. The product not only met my expectations, which he very clearly laid out in the campaign and in his updates, but the quality of it exceeded my expectations. He had live streams that had fairly small attendance, but he was doing everything that you're supposed to do. And he was rewarded for it by meeting his campaign goal. And then he did another one. To the best of my knowledge, that one also funded as well. But the thing is, he kept his funding goals realistic. He kept his funding goals to a point where, let's say, he hadn't been able to totally raise all of the funds, he was still able to cover the shortfall himself because he kept his He looked at his situation objectively and said, you know, if I work really hard and some things go my way, I can expect maybe this particular number. I don't remember if it was 2,000, 3,000, 5,000. I don't remember what it was, but it was realistic.
Yeah, and also the thing is when you compare, when you see Comicsgate and you see somebody throwing up 30K or 20K, these numbers, these are not realistic for first timers. These aren't even realistic goals. If you look at your average of what people, even sometimes established pros, get on their crowdfund, they aren't anywhere close to this. Realistically speaking, if Critias was doing this all on his own and wasn't in the heyday of Comicsgate, he would probably have made about $1,200. I'm not even kidding. He would have made, like $1,200 in a crowdfund, because the thing is, that is the reality. If you look at some of these crowdfund books, if they make $5,000, they're like, that's an amazing feat. When established people, can maybe make 15 to 20,000, that have like a 20 plus career. You have to be realistic, like you're saying, Joe, about what your campaign is and how you're putting it together. One thing is, when I worked at Extreme Studios, it was like this, and this is advice to any newbies coming into Comicsgate. What Ethan is doing and what Zach, your boy, is doing, these are exceptions. These are not the rule. These are not the rule. These are not anything to even, you can't even really build your campaign based on their campaign.
Absolutely.
Because they can do things that you cannot do. They cannot do things that you have to do. You know what I mean? You just cannot base them on. You can't go, oh, well, Ethan did this, so I should be able to do this. Or Zach did this, I can do this. Or even Art did this, I can do this. You can't. You can't. Go try to find templates of people that are in similar situations as you. And like Joe said, humble campaigns that are scaled down and that work financially and feasible to get the book done. And then you can build from that, but you can't start on the top of the mountain. You can't compare yourself to some of these campaigns. You
Right.
can get ideas from them, but you also have to go, when you start putting out a zillion stretch goals, you have to realize every one of those stretch goals is X amount of dollars times however many backers. Every time you offer something new, it changes the financial structure of your campaign. Everything, even 50 cents, when you times 50, or a quarter by 1,200, all of a sudden it becomes a major dollar amount. So all of this stuff has to be taken consideration. And I'll tell you, and then I do want to move on, is that the shipping, you guys, the shipping is a big question mark. Don't ever underestimate your shipping. Almost all these campaigns take a bath on the shipping. Almost all of them. When we were fulfilling Black and White Australia, there's places, there's regions in Australia. It's crazy how much money it is to ship to some of these places. So don't underestimate that. Do you want to try to wrap it up, Joe? Do you have like a wrap up for this?
Sure.
I mean, not the show, but just for what we're talking about.
Yeah. So what I would say to people who are either feeling burned by this whole Detective Dead situation and the way that Critias has conducted himself, I would just say you have absolutely every right to feel burned, and I'm certainly not going to try to talk anyone out of that. I would say that as Robert had said earlier in the chat, and as I had mentioned as well, that as somebody who has backed over 60 campaigns over the course of 2 years, the vast majority of creators have delivered, and they've either met or exceeded expectations. A few have disappointed, and that is just really that's going to happen. When we back these things, we are hoping that we get what we think we're paying for. My experience has been usually we do. Once in a while, we don't. I would say that the best thing about this situation for aspiring creators is take notes, learn from someone else's mistakes so that you don't make the same ones. The campaigns that don't do well, sometimes it's a situation where the creator just didn't do their homework. Sometimes it's a situation where they did do their homework and their product didn't catch on for whatever reason. And then sometimes you've got a combination of both. But this is one where I think you had a creator who was given a lot of advantages, did not capitalize on them, and then also made a bunch of mistakes, and it ended up in a disaster. But it doesn't have to only be that. It can also be a learning experience for creators. It can also, quite frankly, as a backer, it's a learning experience for me anytime one of these campaigns doesn't work out, because that gives me a little extra information to kind of keep in the back of my mind, so that when I'm scrutinizing a campaign to see if I want to spend my money there, I'm going to check to see, does this person really have their business figured out, and does it come through in the campaign? If it doesn't, I don't back the project.
Yeah. And also, this is going to be my parting shot on this. The more you keep your word, as a creative person, as a person that's doing these crowd funds, the more people will give you the benefit of the doubt. So the thing is, if like somebody like me, okay, keep your word. You can see the track record. So more often than not, I keep my word. So then you can give somebody like me, or somebody that has like a track record, you can give them the benefit of the doubt. So even when little missteps happen, then you know that they're still good for it, and they'll make amends, or they'll make it right.
Right.
And those are the people that you need to try to find. It's tricky, especially with a newbie. But I would say, like we were talking, for a newbie, get the book done. Mm-hmm. Get the book done, and be willing to put your own money into the campaign if it doesn't fund enough.
Absolutely.
And trust me, if you put up the book is done in your rundown at the top of your page, people will be more willing to take a chance on you. So those are good insights, I think. I know it's hard to have like a 48-page issue done, but like I said, the rock and roller album analogy was always, you have your lifetime to write the material for the first album, and then the second you have 6 months. So you should have, a lot of these are ideas that we've had. These are things that we've dreamt about for years, these creator-owned ideas, these IPs. So you should have a good chunk of these things done before you crowdfund. That's my advice to you. And also, please don't hold any people like myself, people that are trying to support these projects, don't hold them accountable for having people like Critias on their show. We don't know. A lot of people are. So don't hold us accountable for that. And also try not to be too skeptical, or to be too you want to be discerning, but don't let this turn you off on crowdfunding, because it really is just one person. Like Joe said, out of the 60 that he's backed, a lot of them have fulfilled or are in the process of fulfilling. So let's move on. Thank you so much, Joe. That was your insight was good, and thanks for sending, Antonio's, video to me.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah. So, what we were doing while I was getting angry last night is my wife Pamela and I were putting together a black and white pre-launch page, and let me share that with you guys. So, boop, 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 screen share. Click this, click that, click this, go here. So, hopefully you can see this. This is the black and white volume 1 second chance. So in a world where law and order is often blurred to gray, justice can only be dun 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 black and white. So this is it, man. This thing kicks ass. This is going to be the second chance. So it'll be the initial launch books. We have 500 books down in the Thibert vault of the main cover, and then I think we have 200 books of the Grey Capullo variant that we are going to give you access to again, and all the early signer uppers will get all the early signer uppers that back the book, I should say, will get a free trading card, a black and white trading card, which will be very, very cool. And all you have to do is give us your name and address so we can contact you when the Indiegogo launches, which will probably be in a few weeks. I have another campaign that I'm working on, but it's taking a little bit longer than I wanted to. And that other campaign you've heard me talk about is the black and white Vampirilla campaign. So I'm not sure really how that's going to fit into this. I just know that I can't wait any longer for the details of that campaign to happen. So I thought at the very least I could get, I could kind of direct you guys into a place that we can start building up a mail, what do you call that? Mailing list, and start working towards the Volume 2 Second Chance campaign. So that's the plan. And so the Second Chance campaign is basically a lot of people, when I was showing images, when you guys were sending me pictures of, you receiving the black and white campaign stuff, people were DMing me and asking me, like, how can I get a book? Can I just buy a book from you? And then my wife and I we were like, well, we would like to get a book in your hand, but the problem is the paperwork and keeping track of things gets really, really hard. So Pamela and I were just like, well, let's just do a second chance campaign and give everybody a second chance at the book. And then we can take care of that and get, all those people that still want a black and white book, we can get you one. And
Kelsey Shannon is in the chat saying he wants to get in on this. Are you going to let Kelsey Shannon buy a book from you, Art?
I usually give the books away, but hey, if Kelsey wants to support the project, hell yes.
Okay, Kelsey, you heard it from the man himself. You can have one too.
If he wants to throw some money my way. But also, man, that Nora Saga, sweet mamma jamma, man, that thing looks amazing. So Kelsey Shannon is one of the great ones, and he keeps his word. He gets shit done.
He may be a skunk ape, but that man can draw.
That man can draw. Yeah, he is really, really good, and I hate him for it. I mean that from, with love. It's coming from a place of envy and love.
Well, I will say, guys, if you're in the chat and you missed out on the first campaign for black and white, I highly recommend you get in on this second chance campaign, and not just because I'm Art's new best friend, like he was saying earlier. I bought the book and I was so impressed with it that maybe a month or so ago, when EVS was having an art auction on his channel, I bought a page of original art. And I'll tell you, as somebody who is a comic book historian, not a professional one, an amateur one. And as somebody who has studied comic book art for a long time, to see somebody of art's caliber, to see an original page is really something special. And so I would say if you appreciate just fantastic artwork and you like a good espionage action story, definitely get in on the Second Chance campaign because it's well worth your money. The book is high quality.
Well, thank you, Joe. Is that piece of artwork framed yet?
No, I had to stash it so my kids couldn't get to it. And I noted, well, and I was going to frame it, but then I noticed it wasn't signed. So what I decided to
How
do.
did that happen? I actually personally handed that page. How did this happen? You know what it was? It was all the beer and the good food at that restaurant. That's what happened.
That's what it was, because I intended to make sure it was. I actually brought a Sharpie with me in case it hadn't been signed, and I forgot all about checking the page. But I'm gonna bring it to WonderCon in a top loader.
Oh,
and
cool.
then I'm gonna bring it in and have you put your signature on it. But yeah, that baby.
I'll sign it, Kelsey Shannon.
What I need to do is look into getting a one of those frames for artboards that has that anti-UV protective coating on it, and then I'm gonna hang that baby up in my office.
Oh, cool. I'll tell you, the thing is, the reason you have to protect it is the ink will stay. Like the ink won't really age or crack, but the paper will brown over time. Yeah. But definitely, yeah, that's a good idea.
I want to keep that paper really pristine.
Was it on the Image paper, or was that a Marvel or DC board?
Let me grab it. It's within reach here.
Because that Image stuff is almost like white, like it's so bright white, and that Marvel paper that if I drew it on the not Marvel but the Image paper, I've had that paper for 25 years, so it has held up for 25 years, even the integrity to draw an ink on it. So that's really good board.
Yeah, this is DC artboard.
Okay, the DC board is good too. It's just not as bright white, but I know that some of the black and white stuff I drew on the Image board. All the Chrono stuff is on Image board, and yeah, like I said, it's held up. Just the paper alone has held up for 25 years.
Well, yeah, and I'm gonna invest in that more expensive frame with that UV blocker on the plastic, because I also don't want the blue line to fade. I want to be able.
That's right. Yeah, that will probably be the first thing that erodes, actually.
Yeah, so I've kept this page in. It's page 45. In case anybody's curious, you can actually look in your copy of Black and White Volume 1. It's a fantastic page, and so yeah, I definitely want to preserve the blue line. And
it's the one where Whitney's showing off her weapon the first time and shoots Gray's assistant, poor little Nigel.
It's the one where Reed is blasting through a bunch of robots. And
you got that one where he's on the roof.
That one.
Oh,
yeah.
God. Yeah, he's getting that one in the foreground, right? He's just obliterating it.
Yeah. And it's so great. One, because there's a lot of different inking techniques that are used. Two, because there's a lot happening on the page. But then three, the way you compose the page, the top half, it's essentially a splash page on the top half, and then on the bottom you've got 3 panels. And so if we say that the top half is panel 1, and then the next 2 panels in the bottom, let's say just below the midline of the page would be panels 2 and 3, and the one on the very bottom is panel 4. So in panel 1, we got Reed blasting through a truckload of robots. Panel 2 is Whitney.
Oh, wait, I gotta say, it's up on the screen right now.
Oh, you got it? Sweet.
Yeah, it's part of the campaign.
Oh, great.
Can you see it?
Yeah, so that one on the right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, keep going. I'm sorry.
Okay, so then below that panel, there's panel 2 is Whitney looking over and realizing that Reed's in trouble. So there's the panel with Reed. It's more of a kind of a mid-ground shot, I guess you would say, where most everything is happening in the same plane, but it's not a close-up and it's not a long shot. And then panel 2 with Whitney, where she's looking and Reed's in trouble, that's a close-up on her. And then that transitions to more of a mid-ground shot of her running in action to go help him out. And
no,
then,
actually, it's reversed. She's getting her ass kicked.
oh, okay. So then she's running.
Yeah, because if you read the caption right here, yeah, she's kind of like, she didn't take down the targets quick enough, so they're overwhelming her. So like Reed says, they're a hive mind, White. Move through them quickly or they'll overwhelm you. So that panel where she's running and all those shots are happening, she's actually retreating because she's getting her ass kicked.
You know what? I grabbed my book, my black and white book.
Oh, it's okay. But yeah, let me get into the campaign a little bit. So what to expect, everything the first successful campaign had to offer and more. Not only will you be able to get the Grey Capullo variant, but all the original stretch goals as well, plus new surprises. So you guys, man, we got overwhelming response with the patches and the different stretch goal items that we sent out. So we are going to make all those stretch goals available in this campaign. And if we go long enough on it, there will be new stretch goals added as well. So this is going to not only be what the original campaign was, but this one should be like heightened on steroids. Also, there's going to be a new piece of artwork that I'm working on right now that will be part of this campaign in the form of a killer print. So we're going to do like some oversized prints for this, and it's going to be killer. And so here is the variant Grey Capullo cover of black and white here.
Oh,
and these are two of the interior panels. So this is Whitney just before the shite hits the fan. And then the next one, the next panel over, is the one that Joe was talking about, that he actually owns the original page for. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great because you get an action shot with the way you compose the page. You get an action shots with both of them, but then you also get a close-up on Whitney and almost a close-up on Reed with some action there. So I really liked how both characters get showcased.
That's the tricky thing with black and white, because it's really like a duo.
Yeah,
they're evenly in the credits, so it really is both of their story. Mm-hmm. So usually the way these stories go, you have one character and then you have all their supporting characters or even a sidekick hero. But this just isn't the case. Like even Star Wars is Luke and all the other characters are supporting. This really is, two characters that are the main focus. And it's a little bit of a challenge because you don't see stuff written this way a lot. So there wasn't a lot of examples of how to write a story that is kind of even between two characters. So you don't want to give one character too much time and the other not enough. Mm-hmm. So you want to make them both seem like they're equal partners in the not just in the team, but in the story as well. So you guys, this is the pre-launch black and white page. So please go and fill out the form and I will let you know on all the goings on and update you on how it's progressing. And then also, if you sign up, you get that free trading card, which is going to be killer. And you'll be the first to be to know when it goes live. So please, yeah, come by, fill it out. Yes, I did put it in the description. So underneath the video, it is in the description. So just click on that and come by and sign up. It does help. Like the more eyes we can get on it the first day, it helps the algorithms, and then we can get pumped up, on Indiegogo's list. Man, I do not know how, Joe. I was going over some of the Indiegogo, like how the Indiegogo page works, and how like to try to find projects and stuff. Man, it is hard. Like, I don't know how their page works. I don't quite know how they categorize things. Like, we searched for chrono mechanics and we couldn't even find it.
Yeah, I'm not sure how they do that. I kind of go back and forth between using Indiegogo and also using Indiecron. I like how Indiecron aggregates everything. Pixel Trader does a great job with that, but I was talking to him about it, and the one drawback to Indiecron for him is that he can only list projects where the creators give him permission to do so.
Yeah.
So I have to use both to try and figure out what's happening at any given time. But there's a couple of questions for you, Art, from the chat.
Okay, I'm going to come back because enough of this nonsense. But go ahead and read them.
Okay, so Hatch450SX was wanting to know if you could post a link in the chat window to the sign-up page.
Sure.
And then Cryptic Comics would like to know, if he already backed the first campaign, is there a way to just get the new stuff?
Yeah, we're talking about that now. So most likely, yes.
Okay, cool. I think if that is offered, that there would be more than a few people who, from the first campaign, who would take advantage of it.
Yeah, I already have the new piece of artwork laid out. It looks pretty killer, man. I can't wait to show you guys. I'm typing in now. Page. You want to talk about the pre-launch page, Pamela?
No, go ahead.
They want to hear from you, man. They want to hear it from a different point of view. They're tired of Joe and I talking.
Oh, I doubt that. But it does look good. It's a good page.
Yeah, we were just talking about how hard it was yesterday when we were trying to find the chrono page in all of the other books. Like if you type in Indiegogo comic books, it doesn't show up.
It never showed up.
Because the thing is, if you know exactly what you want, you can type it into their search. But if you don't, you just kind of want to casually look and see what's available. It didn't show up. And there were a lot of other books that I was surprised. I can't think of them offhand, but that weren't in there as well.
Yeah, so, it was really bizarre. Black and White didn't show up either.
That's true. Yeah, Black and White didn't. And God, what was it? It was one book that is it's out right now that I didn't see.
Yeah.
It was Into the Woods. I didn't see that. I didn't see Vinny's book in there either. There was like 2 or 3 books when we were looking that didn't show up.
And you tried different things. You tried trending and all sorts of
most
things.
Popular, all the different ones, and all those headings, the same books show up. Yeah, they don't even change. And like even some of the most trending or popular most funded or whatever.
We're way down.
Well, some of them are like $1,300 and stuff like that. I'm like,
yeah,
most
under
funded.
most books funded.
Yeah, Black and White almost did $70K. Where's that? Yeah.
I Borrow Ideas says, Art, is the Black and White Chrono special you had during the holidays shipping together?
Yes, they will be. Right, the Black and White book that we were making available again for the holiday special, those books will go out with the Chrono books.
Yes, but everything is gone except for 2. So if someone has a problem, they need to message you and let me know.
We offered Black and White in the Chrono campaign.
You're talking about
very limited, yeah. So he's
okay.
asking if those books will ship with
together.
The Chrono book.
Yes.
And yes, they will.
Yes, I'm sorry, I was.
Yeah. Thank you, Ethan. Art is killing it. Yeah, I'm doing something here. I'm not sure what it is, but thanks for that vote of confidence. Yeah, so these things needed to be said. Black and White is going to you're going to have a second chance. And like I said, there's going to be a Black and White Vampirilla book coming out with a variant cover soon. I just got to get the particulars all taken care of there. And once I do, then I can update you. So I just wanted to kind of move things forward and do the Black and White pre-launch at this point, just so I can feel like we're moving forward on another campaign. And if you guys will indulge me, do you still have time, Joe? We did a lot of tweaks and updates on Chrono Mechanics Retrofit. Do you have time?
Absolutely.
All right, I'm going to get self-indulgent here, and yeah, we got a lot of cool goodies that we have added. So here is the Chrono Mechanics Retrofit. They do more before the dawn of time, and yeah, this is a major labor of love, you guys. I understand that cartoon books don't do quite as well on the market. Usually superhero books do better, but please, you guys, this book will not disappoint you. I guarantee you. We are making a run to 40K. At 40K, I will actually be able to make a decent amount of money. At this point, it's most of this, or pretty much all of this, is going back into the campaign. So that'll give you an idea how much money these things have to make to pay everybody. So having said that, to help get us to that new goal, we have added Mystery Sketch. Mystery Sketch, yes.
Hey, what?
Yeah, you never know what you're going to get with the Mystery Sketch. So what these are is these are original sketches and development works of Chrono Mechanics characters and their world. Many doodles will be used in the work in progress sketchbook. So a lot of these drawings, when you buy them, they are also going to be used in the work in progress sketchbook, which I will show you in a bit. So you will get to, most likely you will see your drawing in a book as well. So that's kind of cool, where you not only will have the original, but you will get to see it printed in a book as well. So if you do get the Mystery Sketch, I would highly recommend you also purchasing the Work in Progress book. So a lot of these are on their development drawings, you guys. I mean, that's why they're only $20. So a lot of them are on just paper. Some of them will be on artboard, but some of them are on paper. Some of them are just like quick sketches. Some of them are maybe partially inked. So they're in various stages of development. And it's just like a fun little add-on. I think these campaigns, the fun aspect of these campaigns is always to do something unexpected and unique to the campaign. So, you could just sell the book and that would be pretty boring. But all the stretch goals and all these different things that we do, I believe, make it festive and fun. So that's one of the big add-ons. And also, we added a couple new pages. So these are color pages here that we added. So this is the Doug rock page. It's kind of like a time lapse of his rock concert here, and he's being interviewed by Geraldo Rivera. And you guys got to remember, in the late '70s, Geraldo was he was the king of media. So
I love that you've got him in there.
thanks. Yeah, he's all like Chrono style. Like, it was really difficult. Like, that's one of the things too, when I was going through the sketches, there's different versions of like Geraldo and even Johnny Carson. Johnny Carson from the Tonight Show shows up in the story.
Oh, nice.
And, it was tough because you go from like realistic caricature to like from caricature to like chrono caricature, because there's a different style involved here. So I think there's some developmental drawings on the different progression of how to make like Johnny, Carson look like he fits into the Chrono Mechanics reality, and also Geraldo Rivera. So here's some new color on Chrono HQ.
Cam 1138 is saying that the link to Chrono is not correct. I guess they're testing the link and saying it's not working.
Okay, hold on for a minute. I'm going to stop this sharing and I'm going to go and troubleshoot. Okay, stop sharing and go back to the live stream. I have this, and I don't think this completely helps you, because I don't know if you can click on that and it will take you. But I'll put a link in the chat as well. So thank you for doing that. And as soon as the stream's over, I'll go in and correct that. So thanks. So this is the Chrono Mechanics link, you guys, here. There it is. Yeah, thank you, Cam. I appreciate that. So I'm going to go back and show you some more of the coolness that is Chrono Mechanics. Share. Okay, so these are the new color pages. We added a new artwork tier, and it sold pretty darn fast. So we're probably going to be adding some new artwork up as well. So then these are all the interior pages. I don't want to scroll too fast. I'll give you guys a little bit of a moment on them. Yeah, it's a fun action adventure time travel story about a team of repairmen who fix the big machine known as time.
And I'll just say this to anyone in the chat who may not be that familiar with this project. The visual aesthetic in here, you will not see in any other comic. I mean, the influences that this work came from, you would never put the two together. I know I never would have. Only art would have come up with something that would combine the influences of someone like Mobius with Hanna-Barbera cartoons. I mean, that's insane, but it looks so good the way you've done it. I don't know how long it took. Maybe you could talk about how long it took you to develop the visual style for Chrono, because it's definitely one of a kind.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, after Marvel, fired me and told me I'd never work there again, I was pretty distraught. I was pretty destroyed, and so I just started. I had a bunch of ideas, different ideas. Some of them were partially developed, some of them, not so much, and just started drawing and developing new ideas. And I wasn't doing them with any sole purpose, really. I was just doing it for myself. And so I just started drawing, and I like these characters. I like the idea of just, knuckle busting average Joes that do these super fantastic acts of like repairing this machine, and the machine actually regulates all time and timelines. So if that machine breaks down, anarchy just, ensues. So it was just kind of a celebration of all the repair people and people that maintain our day-to-day things like electricity, roads, cars, our heating, our gas, all those different things. Those are unsung heroes. Those are people that are doing things behind the scenes. And sometimes those guys are going into storms, storm fronts, and they're, putting up, high tension wires, and, they're doing some really life-threatening things. So I thought, especially in this day and age where everybody's like, go to school, learn a tech, do something in the tech industry and stuff like that, like repairmen, these people aren't really celebrated. In essence, they're actually kind of demeaned a little bit too. And I just think that that's wrong. Because people think, oh, they're just grunts. They're not that intelligent. I know a lot of them, and they're highly intelligent people. So that was kind of the initial idea, and just drawing and redrawing and redrawing. So in the work in progress sketchbook, you'll get to see a lot of those different steps. You'll get to see the development of Zinn, Oot, Caravaggio, and Doug. And that's why it's going to be fun. And also, if you do back that mystery sketch, get the work in progress book as well, because most likely your sketch will be in there. So here's one of the doodles. Like I said, there was no reason to draw Doug as Slash from Guns N' Roses, but I did it. And here it is. So that's going to be one of the sketches. This is Oot just trying to figure out, character, what his different expressions would be like, stuff like that. Here's Zinn, the different moods, stuff like that. And so then here is the mystery sketch. So like I said, they're just going to be probably on, 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper. Some of them might be on artboard, and they're being various stages of completion and just ideas. So these really are they're just ideas that are thrown on paper. So, some of them might be a little bit more resolved than others. So this is an early drawing of Caravaggio. So you can see part of it's inked, part of it's not. There's some notes on there. So this is like the stage just before the final one that was used in the comic book. So there's that, and then we added a bunch of stretch goals to help motivate and inspire us to get to that 40K. So
I think that mystery sketch is a great idea for a tier, because so many people who really appreciate comic art love seeing the stuff that goes into making the finished product.
And actually, I like it that it's affordable too. Ask my wife. These are hard for me to part with. I've had these things in a box for years, and I love looking at these. It's almost more. I like it more than looking at old comic books that I've done, because I don't regret anything, because these are all just kind of developmental ideas. Yeah. So I just kind of looking at them and seeing like, oh, that's where my head was at. That's what I was doing at that time. That type of thing. And so, yeah, you should. If Pamela's in here, I'd tell her. She's, you know what? Art wanted to charge $50 for those initially, and the only reason is because it was hard to part with. So
the backers are getting a phenomenal deal, because getting any kind of original artwork from a professional artist, let alone someone of your caliber, for $20, that's fantastic.
Yeah, and there's no shipping. You have to have backed a tier already. That's the only thing, is you have to have already backed a tier, and because that way we can just put the artwork into the mystery sketch envelope, and then put it, ship it along with the book. And just keep in mind, we are going to ship, those books will come in a bigger box, because the artwork is bigger than the comic book. So those will ship in a slightly bigger box, but they're the boxes that we already have in the warehouse downstairs. So those will be in the boxes that we pack the Oodles of Doodles, the big art book. So that should accommodate the sketches as well. And that box is pretty killer too. It's pretty heavy duty. I think we only had 2 Oodles books destroyed, and those things, one was dropped in like an ocean, and the other one was like run over by a truck. It was folded in 2. So these aren't like normal, kind of situations.
Yeah.
That destroyed the box. So yeah, so you guys already have upgrades, which is the 12K. You have the variant trading cards. You have a set of 4 here, and then a special exclusive trading card, which you already have. So if you back one of the books right now, you guys, you will get these right off. No harm, no foul, or however they say that. And then so you get the button as well. And then you get, which is cool, you get the lucky guitar pick. So when you get the book, you'll realize how important this guitar pick is. It's not just like a little, hey, it would be nice to have a guitar pick. This is actually a prop and a character from the story. And you'll see how important that is in the book itself. So then we unlocked 6, well, actually, just in a nutshell, we unlocked 12 new pages. So with your help, we took it from a 48-page book to now a 60-page book, which, by the way, the pencils and inks are done. The book is done. All we have to do is get it colored and lettered up. And so then what we are going to do, this was not easy, you guys, to actually get done. There were 2 lawyers involved to making this happen. And my writer buddy, Matthew J. Hillary, he agreed to make accessible a 116-page movie script of Chrono Mechanics. Most of the time, people never get to see these type of things. So he agreed, my attorney agreed, his attorney agreed. I'm surprised his attorney agreed, to be quite honest. And so we are going to, at 35K, get you a PDF version of the movie script, 116 pages. And the fun part about that will be you can actually see how a comic book like Chrono Mechanics is adapted to film. And they are, the script is a beast unto itself. It is based on the comic book, but it goes in quite a bit. It goes into some different directions. And so it'll be a nice companion piece to the book. So if we get to 35K, you guys, which we're pretty damn close to now, you will get this movie script of 116 pages. If nothing more, it'll just be a fun read, to entertain you. And then at 37.5, 37 and a half, we will give you an upgrade. A lot of people have said, we want the square bound. We want the square bound. So we will give you the square bound at 37.5, which is 37 and a half. And the reason we have to make this up higher is because it is a little expensive to do this. And also we did this with black and white. It's kind of a pain in the ass to design the covers with a square bound and all those other things. It's much easier just to staple the book. So, and it's more expensive to do this, the saddle stitch square bound, the square bound from a saddle stitch. So I hope that was clear. And then at 40K, this is going to be so much fun. And this is just to pay you guys back for the support, man. This is just something I will be able to do for you. We are going to, Pamela's looking into printers right now that can do the golden time card with like foil embossment. So it's going to be an actual time card, you guys, that is foil embossed. And the idea being is 1 out of every, 1 out of every 10. It's not even 1 out of 100. It's 1 out of every 10 backers will get a chance to win basically a Doug doodle. And the doodle is 9x12. So it's bigger than the actual, like normal, like sketches that go into comic book, like those Gemini mailers. So
it's great. I'm sorry to interrupt, Art. I just wanted to let the chat know that if we can get to that stretch goal, guys, I bought one of those that you're looking at right there with Doug, and Art calls it a doodle. I would call it a complete head sketch. I mean, he does not skimp on the artwork in that. I was very happy with mine when I received it. And
that's the one I did on the live, like EVS's live auction, right?
Yeah, you threw it in as a sweetener when we were bidding.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll do one of these up for you, and 1 out of every 10 will get this. I'm almost thinking that people aren't going to turn that time card in for the drawing, because that time card is going to be so freaking cool. I want to do this thing just for myself.
It's a great idea.
Yeah, I think it's a fun idea, and it's only 40K. I think this is doable, and I would like to try to get to this 40K before we go to print, because like I said, if we can get to 40K, I will be a happy man, because that means that I will have been paid to basically do the comic book. Pamela and I will be paid to write it. I will be paid to draw and to ink it, which will be a nice plus. But like I said, be prepared if you're doing these Kickstarters or Indiegogos, any crowdfund, to possibly put your own money into it to fulfill it, to make it happen. So yeah, so 40K, we will make this happen for you guys. And like I said, it's more of a thank you to all the backers that helped us get to this point. So fill out the time card, send it back, and I will do one of these drawings for you guys. So thank you so much for backing and getting us to this point. And let me see what our total is, and then we can end this bad boy, this epic live stream. All right, so we are at 34,152. So let's just so really we're only $6,000 away from the 40K. And what did I say? It was 35 to get the movie script.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so we're under, what are we at, like 850? Yeah. 850 away from the next stretch goal. So that's not too far away, you guys. I know we can get there. So thanks again, like I said, for helping. Oh, holy shit. We are now at 212 backers.
There we go.
Yeah, so we only have under 800 to get to 35 now. So very cool, you guys. Thank you so much. Let me see. I think we're at 7. Oh, yeah. So we sold 3 of the mystery sketch grabs. So thank you guys so much. It's been a lot of fun. Let me go back to the stream. Thank you for letting me turn this into a little promotion for my own crowdfund. And Albino, you got anything to add? A parting shot?
People are saying that your link apparently is for helping a young Kazakhstani girl get an education.
Yeah.
I just would like to say that I really appreciate the humanitarian efforts that you are involved with, in addition to creating fantastic comics.
I'm a giver. I'm always giving. So that's one thing you guys need to know about me, is I'm constantly giving. And I'm going to give you guys something else. Here is a link to Chrono Mechanics. So click on that if you want to go back something. And as soon as, because I don't know how to do it live, because this crowd, like the StreamYard, I don't have access to YouTube. So it's kind of a beast unto itself. So I can't fix that link that's in the description. So yeah, just click the one that's in the chat right now, you guys. Go over, get yourself a sketch, help us get to 30, what did I say, 35. And I'll get you that PDF with the movie script. So that will be cool.
Yeah, and if there are any StreamYard wizards out there who would like to help Art navigate the ins and outs of StreamYard, making people moderators or posting stuff, feel free to contact him on Twitter.
Yeah, from the limited research I've done, I don't believe you can mod people in in StreamYard. So what we can do, and you're not a mod, right?
Correct.
Okay. So I think what we can possibly do is through YouTube, we can set it up like we're doing a show, you and I, but we just won't go public with it, and then I can link you. That's the only way I know how to do it.
Okay.
Yeah. So that will help, because also I should do this before. I did have some trouble in the chat, so it's good to surround yourself with some mods, because sometimes I'm like, on my Indiegogo site or whatever, and I can't read the chat, and sometimes the chat runs amok. So it's always good to have a mod to have your back.
Yeah, Cam 1138 is also volunteering for service.
Okay, cool. You know what? I'm going to write this down. So maybe, hey Cam, am I following you? I know that I get your stuff on Twitter, but I'll make a point, and then maybe what I can do at some, in the future, is I can get you and Joe and maybe who else I trust into one of those YouTube live streams, and then I can give you guys a wrench at that point, and then I can have a little bit of backup. I really should do that. I'm really bad at just defending myself if need be, but I usually don't bring on a lot of shit, so people pretty much don't F with me. So do you have a parting shot?
I would just say that if you guys are interested in hearing some nerds throw down on Star Trek and how it used to be great and now it's horrible, or the other nerds who say it used to be great and it's still great, then tune in Friday. Was it 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern for Art's Pontificator show?
Yeah.
There's going to be some Star Trek bloodbath, metaphorically speaking, of course.
Yes. I think, didn't they, Joe, they threw down, was it Todd and Chester threw down towards the end of Pontificators last Friday?
Yep, blood was drawn.
Yeah. So if you guys want to see a bloodbath this Friday, like Joe said, Pontificators, and now, like Joe, oh my gosh, you came right in. There's few people that you meet in your life that just kind of like you connect and that seem to just fit right in. And you, my friend, are one of those, because you came in just, like cold out of the blue and just fit right into the Pontificators line. So I do appreciate that. You're pretty amazing.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I've been having a lot of fun.
Yeah, so that you did the last two, right?
Yeah, the last 2 weeks.
And the first one you did, holy crap, I think we got like 1,100 likes on, yeah, was it? No, it's more than that.
You were telling me last time you sent us an update, it was at past 2,000.
Yeah, let me check. Yeah, it's like 2,229. So 2,229. Yeah, so you're the good luck, man.
Oh, I do what I can.
Yeah, so I'll let everybody go. Thanks you guys for letting me kind of get a little heated at the beginning of this stream. If you have just come in late, go back and watch it. We get into a little bit of the Critias situation, and I do want to apologize if I got a little heated. That stuff just fuels my fire, and I wanted to kind of say a couple things to address the issue and to try to put a positive spin on that. So if you guys go back, check that out. Please like and sub. I think I'm only one sub away from 40. So I think, let me check. Yeah, so if you guys haven't subbed the channel, please do. I'm getting, ooh, shit. I think we went up almost 15 subs during this stream. So thank you guys. Holy crap. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Moving on up to the east side. So thanks again to everybody in the chat. Thank you, Joe, for coming in and giving me a little bit of your time. And yeah, and Joe, just know he's got a project coming up, and we will be talking about it as it gets more into focus and he gets closer to releasing it on his. You're going to go Indiegogo, right, Joe?
Yeah, it's definitely still a ways out, but it'll definitely be on Indiegogo. Probably in a month or two, I'll be launching a YouTube channel. There's been some, in our family, we had a health crisis come up last year that really delayed my plans for launching the channel and the project and all of that. So I had to put everything on, or most things on hold. I was still able to do a little bit of work on the creative development side while dealing with the health stuff, but things have gone about as well as they can with that, and I was able to pick back up on the momentum of building the publishing company and working on story development and that stuff. So things are definitely looking up. There was a little bit more of a delay that was unexpected, but you know, that comes with the territory with these sorts of things. And, you know, it just kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier, where, you know, if you're going to try to crowdfund comics or any other type of really big project that you want to take on, and it's going to be visible to the public, you really got to do your homework. And after you do a whole lot of research and you try and get the advice of people you respect and trust, I highly recommend building in a lot of lead time to account for unexpected delays, because they absolutely will pop up. I used to be a project manager for a big corporation, and we always built lead times into our projects because you're always going to have things that come up you have no control over. And really the best way to deal with that stuff is to preemptively build lead time into your projects.
Yeah. Malin gave great advice. I wish I would have heard it before I put the first black and white campaign together. He said, whatever you think you're going to do, pad it by 2 months. And that's great advice. That is really, really good advice. And we will keep you guys posted on Joe's progression with his new book. And we will be giving Joe as much airtime as we can, up to the point where he takes over the world with his YouTube channel. So that's the plan, right, Joe? You're going to take over the world? That was an evil laugh. Yes.
Yep, I work on that plan every night.
Like Pinky in the Brain, and take over the world. Yeah, so very good, you guys. Thanks again. Thanks for all the support. And we will be hanging with you again soon. Take care.